For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. The stone niches in Madara are resonator boxes for weather modification. The megalithic complexes in Bulgaria had different purposes. Some were calendars, others observatories, others still resonator boxes for achieving mental communication, and there were also transformers and energy generators. Official science dates the megaliths to between 3,000 and 5,000 years old, the Copper-Bronze Age. But a number of researchers believe that some stone structures are over 10,000 years old and belong to the Neolithic. Madara is the most central of all sacred sites of the Bulgarian civilization because it combines both spiritual and practical energetic functions. Near Shumen and Pliska are dolmens that are part of the same very ancient culture on our lands. The Madara Rider is merely a gateway to underground and celestial realms, as suggested by the entire construction of the caves, niches, and altars. At the foot of the cliffs lies a tourist attraction called the Rock Monastery State Kirik. The place is secluded, carved perpendicularly into the main Madara wall, which faces west. At first glance, the niches appear to be burial places, but as in many sacred locations, there are elements that defy such a conclusion. The niches are relatively shallow and have a drainage system consisting of an opening and a subsequent basin located lower than the main floor level. In the Rock Monastery, if it was indeed a monastery or a place of worship, graves would not have been placed. There are two large troughs arranged north-south, with the head supposedly pointing north. The basin's opening is large, but it clearly once had a plug similar to those in modern bathtubs. The goal here, however, was not external but internal cleansing, as in the Lina complex above the village of Boykovo in the Rhodopes. The trough has a notch marking the level up to which a liquid should be poured. Since the niches are oriented north-south and carved into the rock, they were most likely used during the spring, autumn, or winter solstice. The liquid remains a mystery. It likely served to cool the body and bring it to a particular meditative state. Further inside, near the cliff edge, there is a wider carved basin with the same features as those in the enclosed space. But here appear signs that unequivocally indicate this was not the work of medieval Bulgarians, but of their much earlier culture. At almost equal distances in the half directions westward are two pairs of polished stone mirrors. The slabs face each other, and strange markings can be seen on the back of one. Similar slabs exist at the Lina complex, where they are located at the 4 cardinal points. These slabs usually go unnoticed because they blend with the surrounding rock structures. Furthermore, nearby lies a triangular pediment whose original position was not on the ground, as it is today. The entire structure is the primitive form of the So, called Kozyrev mirrors. Nikolai Kozyrev was a Russian scientist who, in the mid-20th century, discovered that when a person enters a tall cylinder made of a special aluminum alloy, time and space change beyond recognition. This effect is due to the principle of similarity, as the brain's box is itself a resonating station. When space is warped, a person can transmit or receive a message, as well as accelerate or slow down time. The ancients knew this principle and used the most perfect device, the stone one. Stone contains silicon, which stores information much like a computer. In fact, the ancient Bulgarian device was designed to show the initiate not only their own destiny, but also that of the community. For studying larger-scale processes, the services of specially trained priestesses and priests were employed. People who, it seems, skillfully entered the Akashic records to predict or avoid specific events. It is known that the Thracians used a special wine, Zila, for divination, which in fact was not drunk, but poured over sacred ritual objects until it remembered the present and sent it as a message to the future. Incredible as it may seem, our ancestors were so deeply versed in the laws of physics and quantum mechanics that they derived patterns they used to sacralize life for the purpose of its preservation. Rock niches such as the diff stones, for example, were also used as resonator boxes. They resemble a musical scale. It is possible that crystals or other ritual objects were placed in them to alter the space-time continuum. A volumetric resonator is a resonant oscillating system that produces energy without losing any. The creators of the megaliths regarded this construction as the volume of a suitable substance with desired physical chemical properties, using a closed or nearly closed surface, dolmens. The shapes and dimensions are close to what is called sacred geometry. They are matched to the use of elastic acoustic waves and the resonant properties of the stone's physical, chemical composition. This is a relatively simple passive emitter. How were these structures used? One method was through acoustic waves, but knowledge alone was not enough. Strangely, love was also needed. Without love for the Creator and creation, such knowledge was pointless. In experiments, the elastic acoustic wave forms patterns whose shapes are determined by the size of the object and the wavelength. This means that verbal formulas as well as sounds influence these structures, and more than that, the structures respond. We may say, with some reservation, that they answer us. Rudolf Steiner discovered that music is a projection of spiritual dimensions, but in fact, this had been known to our ancestors long before. Stone resonators operate on the basis of the link between the Bulgarian language and music. The practice of naming water and singing folk songs is a way of reproducing divine harmony. Most likely, it was Orpheus who created a device called the archaeometer, later rediscovered by Saint Yves Dalvader, who patented a musical standard showing its application in architecture and the arts. According to legend, Orpheus enchanted people and influenced all of nature. In other words, divine harmony is reproduced in matter through word and music. Recently, Bas scientists, Tanyo Tenev and Angel Manev, revealed the principles of the archaeometer's operation by conducting a public experiment. According to them, the Bulgarian language is directly connected to the way musical instruments should be retuned to follow a frequency of 432 Hz, which is beneficial for humans. They linked the Bulgarian letters with musical tones and projected the musical sound of individual sentences and phrases. Since it has been proven that a field reducing gravity forms between the stone blocks of dolmens, the stone houses, it becomes clear that the creators of these structures also sought to lessen its effect. It is possible that menhirs, dolmens, and megaliths date back to the time of the Atlanteans, or shortly after the transition to a new civilizational course began. That is, more than 20,000 to 13,000 years ago. In their time, gravity had begun to be a problem, and as we now know, they were of significant stature. Undoubtedly, more and more facts push back the origins of humanity in time, and there is enough evidence on our own soil to show the universal significance of Bulgaria's ancient culture.